All right, so have you made the decision you want to get started with meat rabbits, but there's too many rabbits to choose from? Which one's the best breed? Which one's the best kind to start with? That's what we're going to talk about today. Hopefully I'll get all that cleared up for you, so stick around. All right, welcome back again to another Slightly Redneck video. Again, my name is Chris, and today we're going to talk about different breeds of meat rabbits, which one is the best. Now really it kind of depends a little bit on your situation. There's different types of rabbits that you could choose from. There are the giant rabbits, and you might think initially, hey, those giant rabbits, things like Flemish giants, checkered giants, giant chinchilla rabbits, you might think those make sense as a meat rabbit because they're great big, right? But here's a problem with those, is that those great big rabbits like that, they're 20, 25 pound rabbits, and you might think there's a lot of meat on those, but they have a really large bone. So a really small bone to meat ratio, you don't get as much meat out of them per pound as you would some other types of rabbits. They take a long time to grow out, so you're looking at somewhere between 12, 14, 15 weeks even for them to get up to butcher size, and when they do, you're not getting that much meat off of them, and they cost a lot to feed. So giants are probably not the best meat rabbit for you. Now the medium-sized rabbits, these are going to be things that are the most common for meat rabbits. The number one most common rabbit of all meat rabbits is a New Zealand white, and there's good reason for that. Those have been bred for decades and decades and decades, centuries probably, with specifically the idea of producing meat. So they've been bred with good bone to meat ratio. They've been bred with the idea of getting grow outs up to weight fast within 8 weeks, ready to butcher, and they've been bred with the idea of keeping illness down, being able to get big litter sizes. So you really can't go wrong with the New Zealand white. It's probably the most popular meat rabbit there is available to you. Not the only one, but one of the most popular ones. And if you get purebred New Zealand whites, you're almost guaranteed good litter size, less problems with illness, less problems with things like sore hocks and those types of things, and they're going to grow out to butcher size a lot quicker. Now I do have a New Zealand white rabbit. We'll take a look at that real quick and show you what that looks like. All right, this is my New Zealand doe, and she's about she's a pretty good sized rabbit. She's probably around 10 pounds, maybe just a little over 10 pounds. She's been a great mother. She produces big litters, somewhere around 10 rabbits per litter, usually 8 to 10, somewhere right around in there, and they grow out to butcher size in right at 8 weeks. So great feed to meat ratio. Again, you can't go wrong with a New Zealand white. So wake up, say hi to the camera. Say hi. All right, very much like a New Zealand white becomes a California, and these are probably the second most common meat rabbit in America. They're not quite as big as the New Zealand whites. He's probably only about 8, 9 pounds, somewhere right around in there. But again, they've been bred for decades and generations for meat rabbits, so they have the same kind of qualities. They'll produce good sized litters, less problems with illness, good bone to meat ratio, and the litters tend to grow out fast and ready to butcher within about 8 weeks. So that's a good choice for a meat rabbit as well. Okay, this is my newest doe right here, and she also falls into the medium category, but this is a silver fox. And very much like the New Zealands and the Californians, they're a medium-sized rabbit. She's going to weigh probably, she's probably about 10 pounds, maybe a little over 10 pounds. They've got a good bone-to-meat ratio as well, good grow-out rates. They should have babies that are ready to butcher at about 8 weeks old. And they too have been bred. They're a little bit more rare, a little bit hard to find, but they have been bred. Get over here where we can see her. There we go. They have been bred for meat for generations as well, so you're looking at the same kind of qualities that you get in a New Zealand or a California. Okay, those are the rabbits that I have on hand, so that gives you an idea. And I raise medium-sized rabbits, but if you don't have this much room, because you can see they require a fairly large hutch to be able to keep these guys in. If you're looking for something you can get away with a little bit smaller hutch size, maybe you live in a little bit more of a tighter community where you got a little bit more houses around you and you just don't have room to put up a big rabbit shed like this, and you want something a little bit that you can keep in a little bit smaller space, there are some smaller breeds of rabbits that make excellent meat rabbits. One of those, probably the most notable, is the Florida White. Looks a lot like the New Zealand White that I showed you earlier, but they only get about 5 to 6 pounds. Now don't let that fool you, because they do have fantastic grow out rates. They can get, now it's going to take you a little longer than 8 weeks to get up to size. You're going to be butchering at about 4.5 pounds, and it's probably going to take them somewhere around 12 weeks to get up to that size, but they don't eat nearly as much food as what these bigger medium-sized rabbits do in that time period. So you're looking at about the same feed to meat ratio as you would with one of these medium-sized rabbits, but you're also getting a much better meat to bone ratio out of those rabbits. So in some ways they are a better meat rabbit, because they take about 12 weeks to get up to that size, but you'll get more meat out of that carcass in general than you would out of one of these medium-sized rabbits at 8 weeks. So really it's just a matter of personal preference, whatever you like. There are a couple other breeds that fall into that category. Tans are one of those, Dutch, there's a couple other that fall into that category, but those small size rabbits can actually make pretty good meat rabbits for you, just depending on what kind of setup you want here. Now I would stay away from the mini rabbits, the mini Rexes, the mini Lops, some of those kinds of things. Not really the best meat rabbits out there. They just don't get big enough to make it worth it in most cases. Okay, so you can see there are quite a few different rabbits you can choose from, and it's really all just a matter of which ones you like, how much space you have, what you can find available in your area. Now, by far, the most common are probably going to be Californias and New Zealands. Those are going to probably be the easiest to find, and they're going to be the most popular around. Nothing wrong with starting off with those. Now, what I would say is, though, when you want to start off with your breeding stock, I would start off with purebred rabbits. You may pay a little bit more for them, but you're going to get much better stock out of them. Because they've been bred for generations and generations, specifically as meat rabbits, then they've already got the genetics passed down to them that produces good sized litters, fast grow out, good feed ratio, good feed to final product ratio, less illness. All of those kinds of things are already bred into them, and it's best to start off with those. Okay, now there is a place for crossbreeding rabbits. So if you're looking to start off with your breeding stock, try to get purebreds, but they can be different breeds. Like I've got a California buck here behind me, and I've got a New Zealand White over there, and I've got a silver fox. Those are all purebred rabbits. But if I breed them together, breed this buck to that doe, that litter that they have is going to be a hybrid. It's going to be a mix of those two breeds. And there is such a thing as hybrid vigor. That first level down tends to have a lot less health problems. They tend to grow out faster. They tend to be just a little bit more vigorous, so to speak, than if you were to just breed two purebred rabbits together, or if you were to breed a bunch of crossbreed rabbits together. So that's actually a pretty good thing, is to start off with two different breeds, as long as they're both purebred, and crossbreed them together, and you'll end up with a litter that makes fantastic meat rabbits out of that. All right, so let me know down below, what breed of rabbit do you specialize in? What breed are you breeding? What do you think is your favorite? And is there something I missed? Is there a breed I missed that would make a good meat rabbit? Let me know your comments down below. As always, I want to thank you guys for watching. It means the world to me, and God bless.